Welcome back. I'm very, very excited about getting to be with you again and continuing our journey in session 4. Where we left us off on our journey, which was a little frightening, is that we had learned that you're in there, you experience the world as it comes in, but that wasn't quite enough. As it came in, you had to digest it. It had to pass through you. You had to embrace it and imbibe it. And that's not always so easy. And so what will ended up doing, your assertion of will, was to push away some things and cling to other things. Seemed like an innocent thing to do, but where it left you was with these patterns stored inside your mind that are not supposed to be there. They're not part of learning. Learning is when you let something all the way in and it becomes part of you. This just becomes a mental panorama, just like if you have superimposed images on your TV screen. It confuses things, becomes distorted. So you've held these things that weren't able to pass through, and the next step we talked about, which made it worse, is since you have so many of those, and they are by definition charged. They're charged with like and dislike. That's why you did them, all right? Because at first it was just a sense of a little bit comfortable or not comfortable. Now because you held a specific image, it became something you like and something you don't like. And so you started looking for what you like and started trying to avoid what you don't like. And everything that came in started stimulating those things. So the next step we talked about, the next layer of mind, was you used the intellectual mind that was meant to build rocket ships and air conditioning and figure out atoms. And my God, you were given an abstract mind. That's the great thing that human beings have, an abstract mind. What does that mean? I can abstract from only receiving what comes in through my senses. There's nothing wrong with using your mind. Let's get that straight. I'm not anti-mind in any way, shape, or form. I showed you how much respect I have for the human mind. So yes, there are images that come in at the base level. You have the right to experience those, but because you were created in the image of God, you have also this other power, which is the ability to abstract from what is coming in from the real world and play. Microsoft says, where do you want to go today? Where do you want to go? Forget the computer. Your mind is the ultimate of that. You want to go study Mars? You want to build rovers that go to Mars and watch Mars on the internet? Oh my God, that's awesome, because your senses can't do that for you. That's something that your mind expanded your senses. That is called your abstract mind. That is called your impersonal mind. That is called your intellectual mind, your analytical mind. It's all mind. The truth is, your whole mind is the same. The question is, what are you doing with it? The computer is the same. What are you doing with it? What programs are you running? So yes, you have the right to run the base program, which happens by default, that which is in front of you comes in. But nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with leaving that image, allowing your consciousness to go into intellectual pure mind and be Einstein and create things and be artistic and do whatever you want. You literally were, that your consciousness is indeed created in the image of God. It is pure consciousness. It can experience all kinds of things. So just because you're be here now, right, that does not mean you're not supposed to be using your mind, right? Right now, the reason that spiritually they try to bring you back to the present moment is because you're lost in your personal mind. And your personal mind is the worst place to be. All it does is complain and have trouble and try to manipulate the world and so on. So by focusing on the current moment, it brings you out of that, okay, into focusing on something other than the personal mind. You also have the ability to transcend the personal mind and visit your pure intellectual mind and create and do things and be an engineer and anything, artistry, computer science, engineering, all of it's beautiful. You are to use your mind. It is not you're just not supposed to use it for this personal garbage of having stored experiences that you like and don't like, and then thinking that the whole world is supposed to match what you stored. It's the funniest thing in the world. You want to talk about not using your intellectual mind? That's not very intellectual. It's not very analytical to sit there and say, because I had these experiences at one point in my life, I don't want to have them again, or I want to have them again. And so now I'm ruining my life by expecting the unfoldment of the moments in front of me to not be what they are. They don't get to be what they are. They have to be what I want them to be. And don't you deny that's what you're doing, okay? That's what your whole society is doing, and that's what almost every human being that walks the face of this earth is doing, because they haven't evolved enough to learn not to do that. That does not make for a good life. That makes for hell. That's literally what that does. You live in a life of hell. Why? Because I have a way I want it to be, and I'm afraid it won't be that way. I have a way I don't want it to be, and I'm afraid it will be that way. That's your life, okay? And I'm not willing to just sit in here, and I don't blame you, sit here and suffer from the fact that I did this, and then I'm afraid to get up in the morning because something might happen that I don't want to. How would you know what you don't want to happen? Well, because I stored it. I heard that Mary had a miscarriage, and I don't want to have a miscarriage. Oh, gee, you were fine before you heard Mary had a miscarriage, right? Now you're worried all the time, and you're really uptight. You stored it inside your mind. Do you understand that? Right? It has nothing to do with you. Right? Somebody had a problem, it comes in, you feel it, you experience it, you have compassion for it, you become one with the moment, you have the experience. It actually makes you a greater being because you were aware that someone died, that this happened, right? You were able to absorb the yin-yang side of the universe, okay? Absorb both sides, right? Now, God forbid something happened to you. Believe me, you are more prepared and capable of handling it than you were if you never heard about it before. I'm sorry, it's just the truth, okay? So basically, it is, but if you hold on to it and you become afraid, and you're not afraid, you're afraid of your thought. It's just so funny. You have an autoimmune disease. You're afraid of yourself. Do you understand that? You've literally created within your mind hell so that it's telling you what you don't want to happen, what you do want to happen, and so on. Then it's out there judging everything that's unfolding based on what you stored inside. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? All based on your stuff. That's why nobody agrees with anybody else. Let's do that for a moment, okay? The experiences that came in through your eyes, we already said that. No one else has ever had them. And now I move you through time and space, and you keep having other ones. Well, nobody else has had any of them. So what you have inside your mind is completely different than what everybody else has inside their mind. Do you understand that? It can't be otherwise, because the data that came in your mind came in from the experiences you had. Nobody else had those experiences, ever. Not even close. Not your husband, not your children, not even close. So what you have stored inside your mind, not only are the experiences different, but they hit you different. So you store different ones. So just understand, if you think your faces look different and your bodies look different, they might as well be identical twins compared to what your minds look like. Don't look shocked, you hear me? They are completely different, and there is no soulmate out there whose mind looks the same as yours. Not even close. There's no one that is even close. Can you see that? Right? Just go on, take it through every experience you had from the beginning of your life. That's what left your impressions in there. And then take it how the fact that you stored one impression meant you stored 5 more in that genre, right? Where somebody didn't store the first impression. So it's so different, it's incomprehensible. I can't even describe it. I hope you're getting it, right? It is totally different what is going on inside of everybody's mind. Okay? And if somebody's telling you that they see it the same as you do, they want something from you. Because it's not true, right? It is impossible that anybody sees it the same, literally the same. Because you've all had different experiences and you stored them different ways. So now you're holding that inside, and where I went to last time is what you want to do, what you're trying to do now is to say, I am not stupid. I have noticed if the world unfolds a certain way, be more specific, if the moment in front of me comes in a certain way, it matches my stuff. If it comes in another way, it doesn't match my stuff. When it matches my stuff, how do you feel? How do you feel when you get what you want? Woo! How do you feel when you don't get what you want? How do you feel when you get what you don't want? Ew. Now we're where I started in an earlier session, saying, what's it like living in there? Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's heaven. Sometimes it's hell. Sometimes it's really tough in there, isn't it? I told you I would tell you why, didn't I? That's why. It is not because God made it that way. You did. You were given free will, and you really blew it. What you did with your free will was mess everything up, all right? You sat there, instead of experiencing and enjoying your life, you stored these things inside that felt a little bit good or bad. Big deal. You know, you have